Thank you for staying with us. Time now for the news review. It's brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and we are offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening. Locate us in Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, in Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex, Takrady in Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiama in Zima. Call 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease, and only the beginning of the news review. I have joining me this morning one of my favorite people, Samuel Kojo Brace. The other day I had to, call him to stand in and do some, what is here? And he didn't have to do it in the end, but he got here. It shows you he's got my back, bro.
Charlie, what are you? Yeah. In my language.
Buenos dias. Bon dia. Guten Morgen. How do I respond when you say?
So when I say moahi, say yeah, marumai.
All right, let's do it.
Moahi.
Yeah.
Marumai.
Yeah.
Marumai. If I like add marumai, so yeah, marumai.
Oh, so and you? Is that?
No. Yeah, marumai means good morning, brother.
Yeah, what?
Marumai.
Malumai.
Malumai is okay.
Let's do this again.
So moahi.
Yeah, malumai.
Good. That's a good start. Then you can ask.
Antano will become way very very soon. Shouts to Justice Maidu.
Exactly. Then you can ask Kedia. I mean, Kedia is simple.
Okay.
Kedia means how are you?
How are you?
More okay. Simple. Kedia.
So you could start and then I'll do yeah.
Okay.
Malumai.
So
Kedia.
Moahi.
Yeah, malumai.
Kedia.
More okay.
Good.
Okay. We're getting some Ahanta lessons this morning on the show. But before we get into the papers, there's this development.
Yeah. Once we are...
That child.
Exactly. So once we are in Ahanta and we're doing Kedia Moahe, there's this boy in Osiejo, which is a farming community in Ahanta West, who had this problem called esophageal stricture. We went to the house. When we heard of it, we went to tell the story, and we got viewers of JoyNews really impacting this boy's life. I mean, we were able to raise enough money to pay for the surgery for this young boy. So today, as I speak to you, he was operated on Monday, and he's recovering at Kolebu. So we must say thank you to everybody who donated, everybody who gave.
Right.
To support this young boy. Because look, this is a 25-year-old boy who could not eat for the past years. That he only fed through this means. Yeah. Pumping.
I know. Then he had to push it through.
Yeah, it was something else, yes.
Wow.
But today, by the grace of God, he's been operated on, and we've been told, so there he is in the hospital. And there's Dr. Innocent Ajamli, who is the lead surgeon on his case. We're told that, I think today is from Monday, so it's like the 5th day, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the 5th day. So 5 days from now, he will be
So tomorrow will actually be the 5th day.
The 5th day, okay. So he will be able to start eating on the 10th day after the surgery. So we're expecting that some 5-6 days from today, he'll be able to consume, because he wasn't able to even drink water. So if he's able to drink water, taking Milo and all of that, it means that
every little bit is a step.
Exactly. So
every little bit.
We are making progress. So we'll be there. I mean, we are telling our listeners this update. We are so grateful to them. People contributed from 1 city 80 pesos, and it tells you how much the person had when he saw the story. He had so little. So he decided to give 1 city 80 pesos. Others gave 10 cities, 15 cities. Others gave 1,000 Ghana cedis. We had someone who didn't want to identify, him. He's like Neo2. There are so many Neo2s around.
Yeah.
We used to call him one, Sapon. Yeah. He gave $3,000, and Comsis bought 27,000 cedis.
Wow.
Towards the surgery.
While things are hard, the reality too is that when there is crucial need, you see people popping up. You remember, is it Leonard? the genius from, is it St. James also?
Oh,
the
yeah,
NSMQ
yeah.
shack. You know, Ibrahim Muhammad stepped in together with other people trying to assist him, trying to get him back to school. When I was listening to the guy talking about pie, and it's, I mean, we've been told before that it has issues, but the way he was deliberating on it, the confidence and everything, and for him to have, owing to bipolar disorder, to have sunk to that level, I felt it in me. I felt if this were me, I would have really wanted someone to reach out. And looking at his circumstances, you know, it all started from his father passing on. He calls his father a common teacher who couldn't afford to pay his school fees at KNUST. And then all those things, the cookie crate came crumbling. And some of these, one reason I love our platform, not just because I'm here, how we target these social issues, from the 8 who died on the Volta Lake to Pandai district and the deficit of desks now. Desks have been sent there. Not all of them. There's a deficit of about 2,000, but desks have been sent there. You get it. And recently, when we started with our classroom project relaunch, if you like, some of us have been targeted. Our faces have been put on some of these images. And do you know what? I have some friends, each one of us has been given a target of 10,000 seats. I have some friends in the UK, some in Ghana, who have already, you know,
giving you
pledged, and some made contributions. And if I put them together, you would see that Ghanaians really, and we'd love to salute you. When we put these out there, they are not for us. They are for the people out there. And we are so grateful that you actually assist us to do something. There's also that school, Breman Jamra.
Yes.
The Tolon area. It's still ongoing, so if you'd like to contribute, in fact, that is the project I'm speaking of. We'd be most grateful. It's 44 minutes past 6. Let's make tracks with the newspapers, find out what they have to say. Lamentably, though, I've just been praying for some more news in respect of Christian Achu, but yes, right now nothing is coming. Though it has been said that where his building was, thermal instruments, cameras show that there are some people still alive beneath that place, but we still don't have any real, and every day I wake up, that gets on my mind, and it really makes me, you know, worried. But I mean, we pray for a miracle. Still.
What they say is that whilst the thermal instruments are able to show the images of live people, it is when you get close and are able to speak to them that you can really confirm that they are still alive. We pray for such a miracle, that he will be found alive. I mean, it will be one of the greatest miracles of the century. But we pray they are able to locate him alive. They said they found his shoes. I felt that was not even something they should have put up, because really we didn't need the story about finding his shoes, or we wanted to find him. But it's okay. Let's see if we can get stories about him being found alive. Ben.
Let's get into the stories now. You have the Ghanaian Times, and which other papers?
Yeah, I have the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Guide, and the Daily Statesman.
I have the Daily Graphic, the Finder, New Weekend Crusading Guide, and the Ghanaian Publisher. Let's start from your end. Okay.
Now, domestic debt exchange program, individual pension bondholders exempted as government commit to well-being, dignity of pensioners. Parent children besiege Accra Resolution Center to address challenges. That's with the placement system. And GA RECSEC, that's the Greater Accra RECSEC, deploy security on East Legon land to forestall clashes between feuding factions. West Hills Mall murder case docket forwarded to AG for advice. Now, let's do a bit more on the bondholders. Now, individual pension bondholders who did not tender in their bonds in the ongoing domestic debt exchange program have been exempted, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has disclosed. According to him, the agreement with the aggrieved pensioners was raised on Wednesday in a letter he wrote to them. Now, quote, in Wednesday's discussion with them, I sent a letter out to their convener very categorically that all pension bondholders who opted not to participate in the exercise are exempted from the DDEP, end of quote. Mr. Ofori-Atta told Parliament in Accra yesterday. So after days of fighting, they have really gotten what they wanted, because for them, all that they wanted is for government to say, you have been exempted, and they have indeed been given that, leeway.
Finally, some smiles on their faces. I listened to the convener saying that, while he had been in Parliament and had been following the process, he had basically been saying, oh, it's oral, but then, they take your phones and all of that. But then after the proceedings, he went and checked his phone and found some missive there in respect of that. So for them, they are taking it that, look, it's settled. And were getting exempted, which is what they wanted in the first place. So I guess we are no longer going to see Professor Osam and Sophia Kufu picketing.
Yeah.
The
and
Ministry
then he brought the famous Nkrumah statement that Ghana,
freedom. We've secured our freedom forever.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good that they've had that. And it's good that government has also listened to them.
Right.
Let's look at the parent besieging the Accra Resolution Center. Now, hundreds of parents and their children yesterday thronged the Accra Resolution Center to address challenges with the award school placement. The center, located at the Ghana National Association of Teachers at Adabraka, was jam-packed with parents tumbling over each other in a bid to have their concerns addressed. It took a high sense of professionalism by officials led by the deputy coordinator of the Free Senior High School, Nana Afrasika Mingsa, and the public relations officer of the Ministry of Education, Larry Botre, with assistance of the police to avert chaos at the center. So, Ben, I mean, the CSSP has said there are over 160,000 students who could not be placed by the system. So
now they have to engage in self-placement.
Exactly. So the parent had thronged the center to ensure that their children are placed. Let's see how it goes. I thought it was a bit chaotic in the beginning, but like they say, they were able to get things under control. Let's see how it goes. But there are questions we need to ask. Why were these students not able to be placed by the system? Is it that we need to work on the system itself to be able to ensure that we reduce the numbers? Because this is too huge. Over 160,000 students. I mean, we need to look at the system again to see how we can minimize the number of people who are not able to be placed by the system. Ben?
Let's get into the Daily Graphic newspaper now. And parents, students besiege school placement center. That story you were just making mention of. And then in their constituency, watch, Wale witnesses improvement in development projects. And, sometimes you would just imagine how those from the West would pronounce this. Wale, wale, wale. Have you heard them pronounce names?
No, I have not. No, I have not.
Anyway,
I have not.
You should listen to them sometime.
I know they will massacre the names,
There's also Accra City Hotel Graphic Showbiz Weekend of Love starts today, just worthy of mention. Government won't shortchange pensioner bondholders. That's according to Finance Minister Kenneth Oriata. On the back page, demolish structures on water courses. Works Minister tells assemblies. That's another interesting point. You know the rains are approaching. We've started the talk again. The talk shop. No action, talk only. No action, talk only. When I say no action, you say talk only. Okay. No action.
Talk only.
We're very good at that.
But that's how it is. Look, since time immemorial, we've done too much talk, less action. Look, last time I was telling you, go to our universities and look at the research that people have done. Sitting on desk.
Well said.
Wow.
But look, we even had a Constitutional Review Commission do work in 2010.
Spend millions of Ghana cedis on that.
How much of that did we accept? About 10%. White paper, and then it's gathering dust. I was at an event recently where we spoke about some of these things, and I don't know. Other countries are planning and executing.
Yes.
We can't even put together a proper plan. And even where we have a plan, politics comes and bites into it. So it must always be colored, tinted, or tainted with NDC, MPP colorations. And they started this, but we are doing our own. In sharing my blunt thoughts today, there's something I'll be getting into, some of these abandoned projects, but not necessarily. We say Agenda 111. Yet there are so many hotspots, hospital facilities that we could have renovated, which are dilapidated and all of that. We're just talking about a school this morning, Etimtim, and and the circumstances of the school. Yet we say what? We want to put up new school buildings and that. So we never finish anything. We always have a huge backlog.
I think so.
Instead of dealing with, look, let's tackle health. Let's do this strategically. These are the facilities, even Kolebu. There's a lot more work that can be done on Kolebu because it serves the West African sub-region. What are we doing with it?
Ben, I think sometimes it's deliberate on the part of the people who lead us. Because I say this because there was this road in Takrade that developed a small pothole. We spoke about it. Nothing was done. We washed on for a huge area to then get you know, like it went beyond repair, then we'll go and cut a huge area to try and reconstruct the road again. And for me, I mean, for a layperson, I just couldn't understand why we did that. When we could have spent something small on trying to fix the pothole, we waited for the whole area to destroy first, then we would go in there to repair. So sometimes I look at certain things and say that, well, maybe it's deliberate so that people can make some money into their pocket. Because if you go and repair...
Oh, that is part of the plan.
Yeah, when you go and repair a small pothole, how much will you make? But if it's like a reconstruction, people make money. So, you know, you don't know whether we don't have people who love this country or what. And it's about time we try to put Ghana first. There are a lot of things that we do. Look, this whole drain issue that we are talking about, the fact that rains are coming again. How long have we been speaking about them? We always say, oh, we will do this, we will do that, we will do blah.
It's always in the pipeline.
And then we will sit there, the rains will come again and beat us again and cause havoc. People will die. And then we would ensure that this doesn't happen again. Till when will we convert our talking into actions so that we can prevent some of these very preventable disasters that occur, resulting in people losing their lives? When? Till when? Is it that when...
It's like manifesting in Debi Debi. Debi Debi, no. Daben. When?
Is it that when they put us there, we'll do the same thing? I can't understand.
You know, and I always say that we need a certain kind of leadership in this country. Nkrumah, where are the houses he left? Look at some of these young politicians nowadays. Do you see the structures they are erecting? Do you know where they live? Yes. Some of the media people who are on the take, do you see how they splurge? Do you see how they live? Some of us have decided that, look, with our backgrounds, we can't afford to, you know, it's that kind of, you've seen luxury, you've seen Ohiabubro, and in the middle, you've come to a certain focus. You can't afford to be compromised. You can't afford to do certain things because integrity is much more important. But you look at what our leaders do and how they live and how the rest of us live. There's this joke I saw recently. It was in a cartoon image. Jesus feeds the 5,000. And then a picture of one of those quack pastors. The 5,000 feed the pastor. That is the reverse. That's the situation we have in our country. Instead of our leaders serving us, these misleaders want to be served. And they take away everything from us. And we sit on nothing.
It's serious. I think we should have a change of mind. The way we handle this country is not good at all.
But young people, Nankasano, so you also say that young people, I feel we have too many old people. Again, I'll say I'm not ageist, but we have too many old people in certain places where we need young, revived thinking, sharp. Some of these people, look, let me tell you, go to some ministries and agencies. There are people there who can't, elderly people who can't even manipulate a computer. You get it? Yeah. I'm not denigrating what they do, but their capacities in these modern times are limited. How do we deal with them, see them off nicely, and let more capable people in those capacities? I'm not saying
are you confident that when the young man goes
that's my concern.
Would ensure
that's my concern. You speak to some of these young people now, and you see there's a danger with learning, and we see it from some of our leaders. If you learn and you know the ins and outs, the crevices, and you want to be a crook, the most dangerous crooks are the enlightened ones. And that's why I fear, because you speak to some of these young people and they'll tell you blatantly, but the old ones, them come chop. Me, I get that. Why I no go chop? That's the problem. So I'm also afraid that if some young people get in there, what are they going to do?
Charlie?
It is what it is.
It's some way. Yeah.
Let's quickly wrap with the Daily Graphic. Government won't shortchange pensioner bondholders. And the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has calmed the nerves of pensioner bondholders, insisting that the government will not shortchange their legitimate right, but will honor their coupon payments and maturing principles like all government bondholders. He told Parliament yesterday that the government remained committed to the well-being and dignity of the senior citizens and pensioners. But the convener of the pensioner bondholders, Dr. Anani Entry, in an interview with the Daily Graphic, prayed the government to walk the talk by honoring the various maturing dates of each of the bondholders, looking at the precarious financial condition of the country. To him, the surest way for the government to remain afloat and honor its pledge was to cut down on the size of government to rake in more cash. On the international front, Africa CDC expects Mpox vaccines to arrive soon. I'm talking about monkeypox. Then there is President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, I nearly said Baumia. Muhammadu Buhari yesterday gave approval for the central bank to extend the deadline for people to turn in old banknotes by another 60 days after cash shortages stoked anger ahead of presidential and parliamentary elections next week. And maybe just to wrap, African leaders to reinitiate free trade zone discussions. All of those stories in the Daily Graphic.
Okay, Daily Guide. Bitter side chick case begins.
What would we call this? Side chickism. Side chickism.
Oh, bitter side chick case begins.
For the one corner there.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, it says the civil case in which a side chick sued a sugar daddy for breach of an agreement for him to take care of her and sexual harassment yesterday began before an Accra High Court. The court, presided over by Justice Olivia Obing-Owusu, has ordered counsels for the parties in the matter to file their written submissions by February 23, 2023 for the case to proceed to trial. Charlie, will be an interesting case to look out for. So, Deborah Seyram Adabla, an unemployed former national service person, has sued a sugar daddy, Ernest Kwesi Nimako, the chief financial officer of First Atlantic Bank, for failing to take care of her needs as agreed upon between the two. The plaintiff in a suit filed before an Accra High Court avers that the defendant has failed to fulfill his promises to her, which included giving her a lump sum to start a business after her national service, buying her a car, renting an apartment for her for 3 years, giving her a monthly stipend of 3,000 Ghana cedis, and marrying her after divorcing his wife. Oh. We'll see how this case progresses.
It is true what they say. One man's meat
is another man's poison. Okay. Now, National Vaccine Institute bill approved. Government swaps 83 billion cedis owed bonds. NPP presidential race. 102 MPs endorse Baumia. So that's the story there. Says over 2/3 of majority caucus members of the governing NPP in Parliament have overwhelmingly thrown their weight behind Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia to become the next flag bearer of the party going into the 2024 general elections. Information gathered by Daily Guide indicates that over 102 out of the MPP's 138 MPs strongly believe that Dr. Baumia is the rightful person to succeed President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo if the party is to break the 8 jinx of a single party in government since the inception of the Second Republic. Then
I have a question. What happens if the party opts for Alan?
Oh, I mean, but you know that in politics, you come up with A, it can result in B, but they would always have a way to come to.
But you know these positions, these cracks always have consequences.
Oh, exactly. But you see, a party that is determined to win power would always do anything it can to unite. Look at the NDC. And who says that even the MPP, before they won the 2016 elections, they were that united?
I mean, there was the Afoko issue and all of those.
But when a party says, I want to win power, I mean, sometimes it goes beyond what we see.
It's not just about hoping for it. It's about, these are human beings you're talking of, with emotions, with temperaments, with hurt feelings, with all kinds of things. And sometimes it's not that easy. Do you think even the NDC recently, the reshuffle in Parliament, there are simmering tensions?
That's where I was coming to.
Simmering.
That's why I was coming.
The former minority leader has been removed from some 7 committees and all of that. Do you see his... I feel there are still some things in there. Did you see his reaction when he was given a seat and said, oh no, it is for... But I felt there was more to it.
The thing is that, you see, in parties, I mean, what I've come to understand is, when it comes to political parties, there is the permanent interest, but there are no permanent friendship anywhere.
Right.
So you only look at the tide and then you move along it, or you move in opposite direction. So I'm saying that if a party says, I want to win, and everybody is aligned, like what the NDC is doing, there are cracks in the party, isn't it? But when you look at them, they are presenting to you a united front, isn't it? Apart from, I mean, what happened in Parliament? They've all come together to say, okay, we accept it.
Right.
Because they know that there's a bigger thing. Like Kufuor said, it is better for you to be a cleaner in a ruling party than to be a general secretary in an opposition party, isn't it? So when a party knows this, they would want to say that, look, after the primaries, we forgo all factions and move in one direction. So, I mean, there can be cracks, but if the party is determined they will know that they have to whip members in line. But it will be an interesting contest in 2024. Really, really interesting.
Let's wrap with the papers in some 5-6 minutes. Are you done with that paper?
Yeah, I think that's it. It doesn't have Manchester United, so I'll move on.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Does it have Chelsea? I saw a paper with Chelsea.
Well.
Saint-Germain based.
The thing is, I wanted to.
Neymar.
I'm not. Anyway, it's news.
So Chelsea, which player haven't they bought? I think they. Charlie, how about the players in the former, Kwaibi Brim and I think they could play for Chelsea.
No, the thing, they'll fit it. They'll fit
Who's
Chelsea.
that?
Yeah.
They're buying anyone now. Once you can throw your leg, they'll buy you.
They should
I hear Chelsea's bench is now like from here to.
But they should bring money to come and buy me. I'm a good defender, so they should come and buy me.
They could also buy my producer, Derek Ekosam. No, on a more serious note, let's play some good football. I'm surprised you're laughing.
No, I mean, you know what? Derek plays a good football, but Derek's size would make every team reject him.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Did you see Ronaldo? I mean, the Brazilian Ronaldo at the point. Which World Cup was it? 2000
look, Derek is more heavier than Ronaldo now. Derek is good.
Have you seen Ronaldo?
No, but Derek is more heavier than Ronaldo. Look, don't let me say certain things. Derek is my boss. You put me in harm's way.
This is a discussion that he will have with you after we are done. In fact, I recuse myself from this conversation.
You are leaving me alone?
Wait here.
But I'll come Manchester United. He's a good Manchester supporter. I mean,
you're a Man U fan.
I tell you what, this is my blood.
So Man U fan.
Oh, any area.
Man U for
any area. This production is a Man U production.
This is a Man U production.
Yeah, it's a Man U production.
The final newspaper, Janapo calls for calm to resolve a Ramsar site impasse amicably. 6 MPs condemn purported enskinment of rival Chief Oboku. That's an area I would like to pick your thoughts on. Amwabeng urges politicians to stop interference in systems put in place to check corruption. And I'm talking about Prince Kofi Amwabeng. Recently I saw a story from him from an interview where he said, back then UT, they were ruthless in getting their money back. And he says if he had the opportunity to do it again, he would do even worse.
Yeah.
Like, Charlie, you can't come and take my money and expect that when it comes to time to repay, then you will somehow be Charlie.
Because the thing is that the money is not for him. Sometimes people have put in money
I've taken other people's money to lend to you so that you pay back. I get a bit of interest, and I'm able to meet my commitments to those who have banked with me. That's it. Approved pending fiscal measures as well as mid-year budget in August, Oforiata to Parliament. But let me just go to that Boku issue. That's the only one I will look at. And 6 MPs condemn purported enskinment of rival Chief Oboku. This was in yesterday's papers. And we know the MPs. Yesterday I interacted with Mahama Ayariga. But what's your take on that Boku issue? Let's just look at that briefly.
Ben, you see, I don't know why the Paramount Chief did what he did.
Some say it had been a long time coming and that it should have been done, but others also say this is a recipe for disaster. What do you think?
Because the Supreme Court has ruled on the matter.
And technically, they will tell you that the ruling was not all-encompassing and that there are substantive issues. It was about the Mampusis not coming back on a specific issue and that it is not all-encompassing.
No, but
those are the arguments that
uphold the legitimacy of the chief, the current chief now.
It's a bit of a gray area.
Yeah, well, I feel that the Paramount Chief should probably have hesitated a little, consult broadly, and to see how this could have been handled.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be a chief who superintends over a very conflict-prone area. You should want to have that peaceful or peace prevailing in your communities. I don't know much about it, but I feel that once there was a chief there, the Paramount Chief then should have probably found a better way to handle this. In Parliament, the MPs, they have all condemned what happened. It tells you that people do not want that to be happening. You don't want your name to be in the news for the bad reasons.
Yeah.
So there should be a way they should handle this matter such that it won't escalate into something we don't want to see.
Right.
At the end of the day, we want people to survive. people who may die could have become president in future.
Yeah.
Why do you want to lose your human resource? So let's see how we can handle that.
Another thing I'm concerned about, the proliferation of arms in that area.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's so much in terms of arm caches from both sides, the Kusasis and the Mamprusis, and that's something that we must really look at, especially looking at the terrorist threat in the sub-region and the location of this area, also close to Burkina Faso. We have a comment coming through. We have to wrap shortly. This one says, Abubakar Siddiq Hood. Good morning, gentlemen. Watching you live from Idra in the Ashanti region. I really love watching you people every day, and thank you for serving as well. God bless you and all your reporters across the country. And Abeduna Marvin says, good morning. I am really enjoying your show this morning. We're grateful that you've taken the time to watch us. Let me just do these headlines briefly. You do yours. And
just a message. This one says, KB, the side chick issue, dear. You are interested, Papa? I'm not interested, but it's something we needed to
Side chickism. Side chickism. New weekend crusading guide. Queen Mother flays EPA task force for unlawfully destroying poultry farm in Sunyani. There's also Ankobra River's turbidity improves. George Meku Duka says it's a reflection of government strides in fighting Galamsey. Masa, you let me not talk too much about this. Ahead of rainy season, Works and Housing Minister puts Pishi Lagoon constructions on ice. The Ghanaian publisher, Minister makes peace with Nungwa chiefs over Ramza site. And there's also Goyle celebrates Chocolate Day with customers. That's it from my end. For you?
Okay. The Daily Statesman, this one says, Sofrata debt exchange will trigger economic turnaround. Government compensated Ejura shooting victims. Canada Japan urges MPP to tidy up for 2024 and no work on Peshi Lagoon. Minister takes action to avert perennial flooding. So that's it there. Back page. Borussia Dortmund 1, Chelsea 0. Blues haunted by scoring issues again.
So many chances spent, and then is it Adeyemi or so?
Adeyemi.
You know, Adeyemi, he
says
sprinted all the way, but he says do you know what he says gives him? He says Nigerian fufu. But maybe he's not tasted Ghanaian fufu.
He hasn't. When he does, he will know that.
We'll pardon him. But you know, fufu is fufu. The Nigerians have a certain way.
Yam pounded fufu. Yeah.
And we have our own style of doing it.
But Ben, just before we go, you know, when some public officers are doing so well, you have to appreciate them. In our Grand Quanta, the police officers there are doing some fantastic work. They lack several resources, but they're doing their utmost best. And I would want to say kudos to them. You say the word is kudos.
Kudos.
So kudos to them.
Yeah.
Inspector Moses Enimo, Inspector Eric Ninsen, Sergeant Razak Aguma Abdul, Corporal Achu Samiegbe, and Corporal George Amankwa, Inspector Bismarck Apenton. Good morning to all of them. They are fantastic people. So that's it. In a hunter will say, yeah.
All right. Who clothed me this morning? Catherine Gordon of Catherine Garments. She's making me look fly. So if you like it, and my shades are by Shades of Sam.
Hey.
You can check them out on social media.
Okay.
My blunt thoughts, which today, actually, I'll be bringing you much later on the show on the back of our engagement with the government statistician, Professor Enim, and then some conversations we're going to be having later will be titled Tightening the Noose and Turning the Screw, the ordeal of the ordinary Ghanaian. Look forward to that one. Up next, though, we have sports. It is Prime Take with Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. Don't you forget, the news review was brought to you kind courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. We'll be right back with sports.